Welcome, everyone. I'd like to introduce you to the next workshop in November, which is on nature's creative process. And the interesting thing is that nature is always in a constant state of change. And how can we grasp the essence of her manifestation process when it's in continual movement? But we are going to look at that through the artistic process, and we're going to try and capture it in drawing and clay modeling and do our best to come to a deeper appreciation of how that creative process is working deep within the plant in the same way that it works deeply within us as human beings. So I'd like to talk a little bit first about what Goethe, the great German thinker and artist, poet, he came to, after a great many years of studying plants, he came to the living imagination that there is one original plant form that through the process of which country it is expressed in or which locality it grows, that the plant changes through those qualities of warmth, light, movement, and form to give it individuality. And so we're going to try and look now at nature's main 7 stages of growth or development, we can say from the seed to the seed capsule. And at the same time, we want to not just copy her, but we want to capture some of the spirit of her living quality of growth and becoming. So here we have a selection of drawings from many students from both in Australia and also China, Taiwan. And I'd like to show as many examples as I can so that you get a sense that there's not just one way of drawing or one way of doing things. But the important and interesting thing is that in the center here, we see how the drawings have a state of movement. They are not just a fixed form, but through the line, through the quality of the line, it comes into a sense that it is still in the process of becoming. You can see this also with this little gesture here on the right, how it's not a very formed drawing, and yet it has in its simplicity, it just captures that lovely curiosity of those first leaves opening up out into the light. Here we have an example on the right of Henry Moore, a British artist, who's done a little sculpture of a horse. And it's very interesting in the way that he's captured that, because one could say, has he copied nature? Or has he somewhere in himself found that the gesture of opening up and confidence, I think he's captured that same quality in the plant very well in his sculpture. And this is what we hope to emulate. So in this example here of the Greek sculpture Nike on the right, we see somehow the sense of freedom and levity that the statue is expressing is that same quality of opening up and freedom that we see in the plant. Also a student's work. And we see here also the Greek column, the long, upright, fluted column. We see the same gesture that we see in the little stems as they come to bud. And here in this series of drawings capturing the life quality of a rose, we see how in these very spontaneous sketches, we see a fluidity of form, a spontaneity, which also captures the vitality. This is what we want. Of course, we can, on the right, we see a longer sketch, something that's taken a little bit more time, developed through shading to give a sense of the actual form and shape. Both very nice. Here we have 2 examples of clay models from students, and you can see from these 2 examples, they're quite different. And yet at the same time, they are both touching on that archetypal bud shape, which we see in Andrew Goldsworthy on the right, which is set out in nature, a huge sculpture actually, and it is like an icon of hope and a sense of imminent becoming. Furthermore, we have a close-up or a longer study where using light and shade, a lot more feeling can be expressed, a lot more modeling of the form can be expressed, and we sense the degree of care and warmth that is being shown in these drawings. These 2 sets of drawings below are more like studies, whereas the one in the middle is more like a finished drawing. Here we have an example in architecture, how these same bud shapes appear and are used in the Taj Mahal in India. And we can see this not just as, there's not just one bud shape, but many bud shapes. And as we go through both nature and through architecture or artwork, we see that there are many ways, in fact, to capture the living quality of a bud. And then we go on to the opening of the bud. We start to see the beauty and what we say, the pinnacle of the plant's beauty, the pinnacle of the plant's form being expressed in the flower. And we can see that a very simple line sketch like this is as beautiful as a more studied sketch, the one with light and shade here. And both in each and every one has its own charm and beauty. It's not just one way of doing it. And finally, I'd like to just give you the overall development stages of the plant stages in clay, from seed model through to the seed capsule and all the various phases in between. And of course, done by different students, they form a very living image or a living imagination of how the plant transforms from its very simple form stage into something in the flowering stage as being more complex and articulated into the hardened form of the seed capsule. And so it is that we will delve into all of this, and we will make time, and hopefully with some flexibility in our approach, in our techniques and in our materials, we can really come into a deeper appreciation of nature's forms. So on that note, I'll say goodbye and look forward to seeing you in November, and all the best. Thank you.